What happens when two of the greatest athletes on Earth want the same crown? You get the most intense rivalries the sport has ever seen. Today, we're counting down the greatest head-to-head battles in Mr. Olympia history. Battles that didn't just decide titles, they defined eras. Battles that didn't just decide titles, they defined eras. Let's get into it. We start in 1972. Sergio Oliva, nicknamed The Myth, was the reigning Mr. Olympia champion and widely considered the most genetically gifted bodybuilder alive. He was widely considered the most genetically gifted bodybuilder alive. When a young Arnold first laid eyes on Sergio, he was reportedly stunned. Sergio was 5 feet 10 inches with a tiny 28-inch waist and arms so large they barely seemed real. Even Arnold acknowledged that Sergio was something else entirely. But Arnold came back hungry. He studied Sergio's physique, he trained to develop his weaknesses, and at the 1972 Olympia, Arnold took the title. What made this rivalry legendary wasn't just the physical battle, it was the mental one. Arnold knew he couldn't simply outmuscle Sergio. He had to outthink him. And he did. The student became the master, and Arnold went on to win 7 total Olympia titles, with Sergio's ghost pushing him every single time. If you've seen the documentary Pumping Iron, and if you haven't, stop everything and watch it, you know this rivalry. 1975. Lou Ferrigno was 23 years old, 6'5", 275 pounds. He was the largest human being to ever walk on a stage up to that point. Lou's father, Matt Ferrigno, pushed him relentlessly. He believed Lou would dethrone Arnold, and physically, many argued he should have. But Arnold was a master of the psychological game. In the film, you see Arnold casually complimenting Lou's size while subtly undermining his confidence. Calm, calculated, ruthless. When the scores came in at the 1975 Olympia, Arnold won his 6th title. Lou placed 3rd. The rivalry was real, the mind games were real, and to this day, Lou Ferrigno openly talks about what he would have done differently. This is one of the most iconic rivalries in sports history, not just bodybuilding. After Arnold's retirement, the sport needed a new dominant force. Haney provided exactly that. From 1984 to 1991, Haney won 8 consecutive Mr. Olympia titles, matching and then breaking Arnold's record at the time. What made Haney's era unique was that there was no single dominant rival to challenge him. Instead, he faced a rotating cast of contenders, Rich Gaspari, Lee Labrada, Mike Christian, each pushing him to improve. Haney's philosophy was stimulate, don't annihilate, a contrast to the brutalist training of the era. He trained smart and dominated a decade. Then came the Dark Knight, Dorian Yates, a man who trained alone in a basement gym in Birmingham, England. Secretive, obsessive, borderline terrifying. Secretive, obsessive, borderline terrifying. Dorian brought a level of grainy, dense shadow muscle that nobody had seen before. He called his approach high-intensity training. Fewer sets, heavier weight, maximum effort. His rivals, Kevin Levrone, Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, were arguably more aesthetically gifted, but Dorian had something they didn't: the ability to separate himself from pain. The ability to separate himself from pain. 6 consecutive Olympia titles from 1992 to 1997, only forced into retirement by a torn tricep in his final competition, and he still won that year. Dorian Yates was not beatable. He was endured until his body wouldn't allow it anymore. And finally, the rivalry that defined the 2000s. Ronnie Coleman versus Jay Cutler. Ronnie had won 7 straight Olympias. Jay Cutler was knocking on the door, placing 2nd 3 consecutive years. He was hungry in a way that was impossible to ignore. 2005, the Olympia. Many experts believed Jay Cutler finally had enough to take the title. Ronnie won, but barely. It was one of the closest Olympia decisions in history. Then 2006, Ronnie's body was breaking down. Multiple back injuries were catching up to him. Jay Cutler peaked perfectly. Jay Cutler won the Mr. Olympia and then lost it, and then won it back again. It's a debate that never really ends. Who was the better bodybuilder? 2 completely different schools of thought, an immortal rivalry. Every one of these rivalries pushed the sport further, made both athletes better, and gave fans moments they'll never forget. That's the magic of competition. It doesn't just crown winners, it creates legends. Hit like if you love bodybuilding history, subscribe to Legends of Iron, and tell us in the comments, which rivalry do you think was the greatest of all time? We'll see you next video.